This is Snake. Can you hear me? Good. The mission is simple. Put your geek pants on and infiltrate Foxhound. If you need backup, contact Ken and Chris on their codec frequency. Ready? Snake out.
Never had any issues with PS4. Pro, I should say. Apparently you have to say pro.
Pro.
Like if you
It's
just,
a pro.
if you live in a PS4, people would just assume you have the boring non-4K version of PS4. But if you say pro, they'll go, oh.
Whoa.
And you know what? I can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I played it on your TV versus my TV,
I
was like, yeah, mine's better.
Yeah, is it better?
Yeah. The extra 3,000 pixels, you could totally tell. I know I'm saying it in a way that suggests that you can't and it sounds sarcastic, but you can totally tell that it is time for another Geek Pants Camcast. Yeah, that's right. You didn't think of that. We knew you were here, but we knew the entire time. The entire time. And you know how we knew? Because Kenneth had to press record.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, thanks for showing up. Thanks for watching.
But you have a sixth sense.
Could I possibly have a Chris tingle? Is that a subtle reference to what we are talking about tonight?
It could be.
It could be. Like,
your shirt kind of gives it away.
And so does yours gives it away.
Mine.
Yours is blatant.
We could be talking about Spider-Man PS4. Yours.
That's true. We could be. But yeah, mine is a Midtown High School t-shirt.
I think you can only go so far with that.
That's true.
We are talking about the MCU Spidey.
That's right. The latest edition in the ongoing saga that is the life of Peter Parker in the MCU/Sony Cinematic Universe. I'm not sure what they call it.
Man, whatever they're going with this week.
Yeah, whatever. We are talking about Far From Home.
Far From Home.
Yes.
Which I love that. Did you read that recent interview with Tom Holland? Where he's like, it's hilarious because when we shot Homecoming, I was in like the other side of the world away from my family. But when we did Far From Home, I was 20 minutes from my parents.
No, I didn't, but that's hilarious.
I was like, that's pretty funny.
That is really cool, though.
Funny.
That's really cool.
Because he's British.
Yeah. And like
but you wouldn't know because he has that accent well.
He's like, he's British. Like,
he's very British.
He's the kind of British where, like you think British and you think like Tom Hiddleston.
Yes.
Where it's that posh, almost James Bond British. Mm-hmm. You don't think like street urchin.
Yeah.
Street urchin, like not scum, but like, I don't know, street punk.
Yeah.
Like almost limey, like almost like, oh, hello there, you know? You're like, oh my god. Sounds like poor British, I guess I should say. He's obviously not poor, but
he's got problems.
Yeah, he just sounds like he's But anyway, but yeah, so that's actually really funny.
Far From Home.
Far From Home, yeah. Very, very hugely anticipated for me because unlike you, I was more of a fan of Homecoming than you were.
Indeed.
Yes. But I will say, the interesting part for me is the Spider-Man Peter Parker that you see in Civil War and both Avengers is also really good.
Yeah,
they're close, but they're not quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're not quite the same. But anyway, so if we're looking at like a total arc so far, I feel like this is where we're getting closer to the version of Spider-Man that we're all accustomed to, like in terms of the Raimi version, or others are closer to that because, and I had said this, well, like wait for Far From Home to come out.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you'll have a changed opinion on this. It's not a perfect Spider-Man or a perfect Peter Parker.
No.
By any means.
It's a fun movie, though.
He's really close.
I'll straight up say, like right now, I enjoy Far From Home way more than Homecoming.
So did I. And I really liked Homecoming.
And thank God it's doing well, because otherwise we'd be going through the same Spidey situation where Sony pulls the rug from underneath.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Did you read the $1 billion
clause? If they don't make $1 billion,
clause?
then it's back to Sony.
Yeah, we'll do Homecoming and your little movies, but then Far From Home must make $1 billion or we pull back the rights.
Yeah, which, to be fair, they have every right to do that.
Yeah, because that's why they went with Marvel, is to make more money.
Right, especially because like they sat there and they said, okay, we had a really good idea for the first 2 Spider-Man movies.
Yep. Kind
of went off the rails on the 3rd Spider-Man movie, so they thought, okay, maybe we got to reassess things.
Mm-hmm.
We can't do Spider-Man 4, so let's reboot it. Which, I mean, at some point I think we'll get to those, maybe. I feel like I've said it. I think people know exactly how I feel about them. Amazing Spider-Man 1, all right.
All right.
There was things that I liked about it, but there was a lot of things I didn't like about it. But like, if we use Amazing Spider-Man as sort of like the middle point, which obviously it is, it's the bridge point.
Yeah.
You can already we're already griping about how Ben Parker isn't the big focal character, and even in this one, Aunt May not so much either. So the two parental figures in his life they were already being phased out in Amazing Spider-Man, because they had like Amazing Spider-Man 2, they had Richard Parker, Peter's father, be the guy that says, "With great power comes great responsibility." So they were already trying to push away from Ben. I know they were doing it to do a different spin on Spider-Man, but I feel like it's one of those things where, for some reason, they're trying to get away from that Ben Parker. Like, at least they had the death of Ben Parker, and that was the reason why he did it. But then the second that they had him say, or Richard Parker say that in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I was like, oh, fuck this. Fuck this. Like, I mean, at least we're not getting that, you know? Like, we're not having him say those words and say that they came from Tony. He's just...
Nobody said it to him yet, right?
No. The closest he's ever got to...
even exist.
The closest he's ever got to was in Civil War, where he said, when you can do the things that I do, and you don't use it to help people, then the bad things happen, then that's on you. That's the closest that he got to that. And I remember being in the theater with Civil War when he says those lines, and I'm just looking at this kid, who I think at the movie time, or movie age, cinema, he was like 14, 15, maybe just barely 14, and here's this kid who's like, so that's why I'm Spider-Man, because, you know, he's not saying with great power comes great responsibility, because for some reason he can't say that anymore.
Is that not part of the clause?
It should be.
Like, if Uncle Ben starts running around in Venom going, "Hey, Venom, with great power comes great responsibility," well, like, oh, yeah, well, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Like, he was part of the...
Even in Ultimate Spider-Man, like, one of my favorite scenes in Ultimate Spider-Man, seminal run by Mark Bagley and Brian Michael Bendis, the talk with Aunt May and Peter Parker.
Yes.
So this is after, like, this is where she finds
Great issue.
And
it was always those Bendis one-offs where it was just like two characters talking that were like
highlights.
Like number 13 with Mary Jane. Love that issue.
Especially because like we're coming off like an 8-issue stretch with the Clone Saga.
Yeah. And
this is where she found out that he was Spider-Man, and they couldn't even talk about it because all this other shit was happening.
Yeah.
Then she had a heart attack on top of that. So then finally they're having the conversation, and she was just like, well, like, why do you do it? And he just point blank goes, with great power comes great responsibility. And she goes, Ben, he said that all the time. And then she got it. Like, right away, she was like, okay, all right. So I'm still holding out for our Ben Parker moment. I really am. I'm hoping that they don't totally cast that off to the side in favor of Tony Stark being the parental figure, because I'm not against the idea of having a surrogate dad figure, because you could have, okay, well, Ben died, so he latched onto Tony Stark. Tony Stark died. So then, spoilers, he latches onto Quentin Beck, Mysterio, from the alternate dimension 833-4. By the way, I called that shit.
You called that?
I fucking called that shit. Go back in the Camcast. I called that shit. Anyway, I won't go too ahead. But yeah, so like you could see this as a young kid trying to find that mentor figure, that father figure. Yeah. I feel like after Mysterio though, and everything else that happens in the movie, that he's got to reach a breaking point where he's kind of like, okay, every fucking dad figure I have in my life dies. Like I can't, no more, no more, no more. Especially after the events of this movie. But anyway, mini rant aside, I was hugely excited for this movie.
You were. I think we've talked about this movie for the last 3 or 4 Camcasts. 4, yeah. 4. It was 4.
In some way, shape, or form, I've mentioned this movie at least once or twice, and then went on at least a 5 to 8 minute rant about how pumped I am for this movie. So imagine my surprise that I came out of the theater without any sort of without any glaring I really kind of wish, because I've said in Homecoming, overall great. A little heavy-handed with the Iron Man stuff, although I maintain that that's part of the arc for him, to get away from being what he feels he should be and get back to what he should be, which is Spider-Man, and not Iron Spider Jr. or whatever the hell the term would be.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Iron Man's not even in this movie yet. It feels like he's in this movie more than Homecoming, which is funny.
I thought that was kind of interesting because, again, we're talking about a kid who, really in a short amount of time, maybe 2 years, he's went from being a low-level, sweatpants-wearing superhero, almost a YouTube sensation, to teaming with the Avengers against other Avengers, right? To actually becoming an Avenger and getting an upgraded suit after he single-handedly took down the Vulture and saved, at least Happy's job. Yeah, and a large portion of New York's coast, right? Coney Island, I think it's called.
Yep.
Or whatever. And then dies. Comes back, watches his mentor die, sacrifice himself.
Immediately.
He's back. They get a quick 2, maybe 10-minute beat between the hug and the fights and everything, and then he's got to say goodbye to his mentor who does the ultimate sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
Comes, and then has to readjust back to the world after the blip, which is stupid. I don't like the
blip. No, the blip is dumb.
Could we not call it the snappening?
The snappening is so much better.
Or even what was it? The decimation?
Yeah,
that was what they called it in Endgame. Was the decimation? Instead, we called it the blip. Maybe it's just because it's the high schoolers.
The blip is the PG-rated version for high schoolers.
Yeah, okay. I guess. And yeah, sure, they played the blip for laughs. Heavy laughs they played it for. Whitney Houston singing that song, and then you get the montage.
You know what, that opening was hilarious with the horribly cut video, high school video.
Yeah. I did not expect to... I didn't expect them to handle the heaviness of Endgame in such a almost flippant manner. I was just oh, this is hilarious. It was so funny. I was laughing the entire intro. I just thought it was hysterical. And don't let me forget, there's a YouTube channel called High Top Films that I follow. Mm-hmm. And he's a huge Spider-Man fan.
I wish I had a pen here so I could make notes sometimes.
He actually said this movie broke him.
Where, the opening?
The whole movie broke him. This version of Peter Parker's Spider-Man...
High Top Gaming?
High Top Films.
Films. Alright.
And not that I'm going to say he's wrong by any means. I'm almost going to implore him to maybe open it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, this is a character that's been around since 1962. So this is a character that has an established run up until One More Day of Spider-Man, of what that character was between 1962 and whenever One More Day happened, right? And then from Brand New Day up until recently, I guess, with the Amazing Spider-Man 600, that whole, Dick Slott run.
Yeah.
You've got a second stage of Spider-Man. Plus,
you've got Dick Slott.
Is it Dick Slott?
Dan Slott.
That's his porn name.
Dick Slott.
That's his porn name. Yes.
I like that a lot better, though. I should just go with that for now.
Dick Slott, yeah.
Dick Slott.
I don't know what the fuck.
What the fuck were you watching before you came over?
Well, it wasn't porn, I can tell you that much, but for some reason, I thought it was Dick Slott. So you had that aspect, right? Yeah. But then you had the Ultimate Run. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different cartoons with all different interpretations.
Ooh, fuck.
Because you got the original cartoon, Then you've got the 90s Spider-Man cartoon.
Yeah.
No, you've got more than that because there was Spider-Man and then Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Yep, that one there.
Then there was Spider-Man, the one that I was referencing, the 1990s one.
There was also Spider-Man live-action TV series that lasted for a while in the 70s.
That's right. There was also...
yeah, but then you had the 90s. And
then you had the Spider-Man Beyond. Not Spider-Man Beyond, but
Unlimited.
Unlimited, that's right.
Unlimited, right.
And then you had MTV Spider-Man.
Yep.
Then you had Ultimate Spider-Man.
Spectacular.
Or Spectacular, then Ultimate.
Yep.
And now you have the current one. That's almost 10.
That's a lot of Spider-Mans.
So we have like multiple versions of this character, plus the PS4 version, right?
And I mean, just the PS4 version, like going all the way back to Neversoft on the PS1.
Those ones I'm not going to count because those are actual based off of movies.
Oh, you're talking like different worlds.
I'm talking like different versions of Spider-Man.
Well, no, Neversoft was based off the comic book.
Right. So that's why I'm not referencing those comic books. Whereas PS4, it's its own beast. It's its own continuity.
It is.
You know what I mean?
Shattered Dimensions is its own, right?
Yeah, Shattered Dimensions is its own.
That's its own thing too, right?
Because like
and Web of Shadows.
Web of Shadows might be its own as well.
I think those three in there, and then there's the other one I can never remember the name of. Right after Shattered.
Yeah, I can't remember that one either.
I can't remember that one.
But that one is distinctly it's got its own because actually, spoiler alert, killed off Spider-Man. Brought him back, but they did kill him. They did kill him.
Unbelievable. Can't believe you just ruined that for me. I was going to play it.
A game that you weren't going to play that you don't.
I did. I had Shattered Dimensions. I put.
Not Shattered Dimensions.
Oh, which one?
The sequel.
Oh, the sequel that no one can remember.
Yeah, the one where it's just.
Yeah, no, I didn't play that one.
It's regular Spider-Man, and then it's Spider-Man 2099.
Yeah, and that's it.
Shattered Dimensions was good though. I liked it.
It disappointed me.
I liked it in the sense.
And it disappointed me because I thought I was going into it as this is Spider-Man's Arkham Asylum, and it wasn't even close to being Asylum.
Yeah, okay.
So I disappointed myself.
You hyped yourself.
I hyped it way too much.
Yeah.
Way too much.
Whereas, of course, like so when I played it, my only major gripe with that was that it wasn't an open world.
Oh, that was the other thing. Yeah, it was all like.
It was like level styles.
Parking garages and stuff.
Yeah, level style. Like it was just like so you would play as regular Spider-Man in this section, beat that, and then you play as the other one in their own specific level.
It's like I don't know if I was playing like
so really cool, but at the same time when you come off other Spider-Man games where it's completely open world.
Open world like a console before.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no reason to not have it now.
Exactly. So then when you play Spider-Man PS4, you're just like, like right after the first initial story mission, then the whole city opens up, and then as you start like hitting burrows and stuff, and then everything, you're just like, oh, like fuck, this is crazy.
I can't wait for that sequel.
Me neither.
Like I feel like the PS5 when it comes out, I'll be able to hold off on it until Spider-Man 2 comes out.
I'll be in the same boat. I'll be able to
because when Spider-Man 2 is on the shelves, I'll be like, I need it.
But that's how I was with this game. I was like, I absolutely.
Yeah, you bought yours right after Spidey, right?
Yep. I literally went like this. I went everything you have to do to get this system with this game, and I'm so glad I did. You know what? A game I haven't played since. I've never even like loaded up Red Dead Redemption 2. I played like about an hour to 2 hours of Arkham Knight, and threw that away, and I don't know if I'm ever picking that one back up.
Yeah.
Because I gotta tell you, and it's not even just the Spider-Man PS4 stuff, it is partly that.
Yeah.
But every fucking mission has to have a fucking, like, Batmobile puzzle to justify the Batmobile? No, thanks.
No. And that's what turned me off. Like, I haven't even played it yet. I was pumped for it because I love Arkham City. Rocksteady made a masterpiece of that game.
Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and even Arkham Origins, all great games.
Yeah.
First two I referenced are the best of the series, but Arkham Origin had a lot of promise for it, and I was really pleasantly surprised with that, because I wasn't expecting much. And then I play Arkham Knight, and it's like, okay, like, I get it, you got the Batmobile, okay? But, like, not every single thing has to be about the Batmobile. The Batmobile battles, like the tank battles, they're actually pretty good. They're not bad. But maneuvering this thing around, like, buildings, and then using a grappling winch system, and then shooting over there, and then getting out to run over, maybe fight some guys, hit that switch, and run all the way back to the the car, or even call the car to you, whatever. But to do that constantly, fuck that shit.
That doesn't sound fun to me.
Fuck that shit.
Arkham City, I love just grapple hooking across the city.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Exactly. This would I should have been like, yeah, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like, oh man, this is awesome. Oh yeah, I gotta get the Batmobile again. Fuck. That's exactly how I felt. I was like, I gotta get a Batmobile again? I didn't even finish the level because it's like floor 1, do some stuff, pull the Batmobile in, go up, do some more stuff, make it so that you can bring the Batmobile up another level, and rinse and repeat. And
why would he? No.
The Riddler challenges, racetracks. Exactly. You're already like, oh my god. I tried one, and no word of a lie, like, it took me more than it should have in terms of tries, but it got to a point where I was like, I just want to beat this. Like, I just want to beat this, so I can get back to the level, and then never do another Riddler trophy again. This is coming from me, who was like, I gotta get every Riddler trophy. Absolutely every single one.
You got them all in Arkham City, right?
Arkham Asylum, got them all. Arkham City, got them all. Origins? They were Enigma trophies. There weren't. But
right,
then the last one is an actual Riddler trophy.
Okay.
But yes, I got that too.
And you got those too?
Fucking right, I did.
Yeah.
Even when a game glitched, I managed to like fix the glitch. I can't remember exactly. Oh, I had to do something because like one of the Bane side missions fucked me up and it glitched. So I had to like do something else. I redo a portion for something, and then it like glitched back in. It was like, oh hey. Story's back on again. Like, okay, all right. But anyway. So my big plea would be for the gentleman at High Top Films, which is really great, by the way. Like, I love his stuff. It's very thought provoking, very good. He's a Spider-Man fan, but he's also a fan of film. So he comes at it from two perspectives in terms of the film aspect and stuff. Some of the stuff with the film aspects I can jump on board, but you know, like I'm also saying, like, kind of just. Try to find something to like. It feels like he's trying to find something not to like.
So he just hated on the whole movie?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Like he said the phrase it broke him.
When I could find, I thought you meant broke him like emotionally because he loved it so much. Broke him because he hated it.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, broke his heart would be the way to put that. But anyway, so a little bit of a.
Well, I mean, I watched the whole thing. I enjoyed it, and then like. Little things this bug me sort of sink in after.
Yep. Once you get through the high, like that's how I was with Homecoming, where I came out, I was like, yeah, and then I was like, yeah, but there was that part, yeah, there was kind of that, and some of this was a little, but overall, yeah. Whereas this one, I was like, yeah, and then I was like, yeah, there's still only a couple of things, but we'll get to that because we are talking about.
Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Yeah, which we said already, but just to repeat, just to bring it back in.
It's been a few minutes, so.
Yes.
That's where we were.
And, well, take it from here, pal.
That's how it rolls.
Take it from here, pal.
Tom Holland, you know, awesome as always. I really liked Zendaya in this. Zendaya,
yeah, that sounds like it's right.
As Mary Jane. Or actually, MJ. I'm sorry. Yeah. Here's the thing that bugs me. I don't mind if she's black. I'm fine with the recasting. The whole Michelle thing pisses me off. Like, just call her Mary Jane. Like,
I agree. Like I said, we both said that in Homecoming, where it was just like, if that's what you wanted to do, then just do it.
Yeah.
Just get it over with.
Like, he's just calling her MJ now, not once to say Michelle the whole movie.
Yeah,
so why didn't he just call her? Like, it was dumb.
Yeah, it was like.
What was it? A way for people not to flip out about it? I guess
so. Yeah. It was for them not to. Well, never mind. You hear about Ariel. Mm-hmm. Ariel, the Little Mermaid, being black, and fucking people are losing their minds. Okay, why?
I mean, I wasn't going to see it regardless, so it doesn't matter to me.
Still,
I saw one argument though that was funny, where they said, "Why do you keep recasting all the redheads in these things with black people?"
That's pretty funny.
It's pretty funny when you think about it, because I was like,
one
what?
Of my favorites, one of my favorites was a woman. I look on Reddit a lot, so I read memes and stuff. And one of them was a tweet that said, "When I was a girl growing up, I was the only redhead that I knew. So when I watched Little Mermaid, it gave me a sense of empowerment that this was a redheaded mermaid who could do all these really cool things. And if having a Mermaid helps a young girl feel the same thing I felt, well, then that's just great. And I was like, yeah, why don't we have more people like that? You know, like, I mean, I keep saying inclusivity and being more inclusive, but I'm all for it. You know, like, we have a half black, half Hispanic Spider-Man. Who was the lead in one of the best Spider-Man movies I've seen in my entire life, and it is better than this movie.
Now, do you feel you would enjoy that as much if he was called Peter Parker? Or do you think you enjoy it so much because they created a new character that takes place in this world?
Honestly, I think if they did the... actually, ultimately, I don't think I would care. Like, I mean... Yeah, I think a part of me, when I would, maybe 5-10 years ago, I probably would have been like, well, no, you know, he's always been white, he should always be white type of thing. But, I mean, like Stanley has said multiple times that one of his favorite things about Spider-Man was that he's covered head to toe. So you really, aside from knowing he's a dude, for obvious reasons,
yeah,
you don't know what color he is.
The boner when he's around Black Cat.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't know what color he is
at
all. You don't know anything other than he's Spider-Man and he is here to help. You know, so it could be anybody. So, yeah, like, now I don't think I'd be in as much of an uproar, per se. Like, I mean, it would bother me because it's just one of those... It would bother me because they weren't doing it in a sense for any other reason other than to say, hey, look, we got a black Spider-Man. Like, Peter Parker's black now, so... We're cool, right? Like, 1 million years of racism is wiped out. Like, that would be the reason why they would do it. It's the same reason why, like, I would push it back against a black Superman or a black James Bond or anything like that, because it's like, you guys are just doing this to do it. Like, instead of creating a character that's just as cool or just as great as James Bond, and he just happens to be black. And don't even make it be like, that's part of it. It's just... Mm-hmm. He's just a black spy. He just happens to be black, you know? Like,
they were making a spy movie right now with Idris Elba. Idris Elba,
yeah.
However you pronounce it.
Yeah.
It would be huge.
It'd be absolutely huge.
Doesn't even matter what he's called.
Yeah. Hell, he could have been Shaft in the Shaft remake.
Yeah. Right. You know what? Remember how I just said I wish I took notes during these things? We're going to go off key for a moment because we do that. I was editing the John Wick video.
Yep.
And about a quarter of the way through, you said, "Oh, don't forget, I have something to tell you about Shaft." And then you never did.
Oh, yeah! That's right.
Yeah.
So, a couple of things. So I watched the latest trailer of Shaft.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's actually just called Shaft.
Just Shaft.
Not Shaft Jr. or anything like that. I like that it actually is a sequel to the...
It's a sequel to Shaft, and Shaft is a sequel to Shaft.
Yeah. So it's... Because Samuel L. Jackson was the son of the original Shaft from the original movies.
Richard Roundtree, and then now they got...
And now they got the other one, who's his son, so... And then, in the trailer, you actually see all three of them.
Yeah.
Because Roundtree's still alive. And I was like, that's awesome!
It's
That's
awesome.
so cool! I don't think I'm going to see it, because it still looks pretty shitty.
It's already out of our theater anyway.
Oh! Well then, alright, I guess I'll see it on Netflix.
I was going to go watch it, because I watched the 2001 in the theater, and I loved it. But, yeah, no, this came out in between all the big blockbusters that eat up all our screens at the theater, and that was it.
That was dumb placement, though. That was really dumb placement.
Like, it's not a summer movie. Like,
that could have been, like, a pretty good launching point for a new version, or, like, a new generation of Shaft, right? But that was one of the things that I wanted to point out. That was it. But also, if we're referencing, like, black characters, well, you've got Shaft, you know? And I think I've said before in our Camcast, I also don't feel like there is a huge population of black people, or, I don't know what term you want to use, differently colored people, or whatever social justice warrior phrase you want me to use.
What, anyone non-white?
I don't even know if you could say that. Anyone that's not like us. Like us.
This
you know,
complexion.
I don't feel like they're sitting there going like, we really, like James Bond should be black. Like, James Bond should be black. I don't think they're saying that. I think they're saying things like, yeah, James Bond is fucking cool. We need a character like that. I don't feel like they're saying that. I also don't feel like there's a ton of women saying the same thing. I feel like
you know what?
Realistically, they're saying we need characters like this.
It's hard to say. For the most part, though, I'll tell you that all these recastings of white fictional characters as black people are coming from most likely white men in suits.
You know what I kind of like to think? I like to think that, so if we reference the Littlest Mermaid, she came in, she read the lines, and they said, "You're perfect for the role."
Dude, I would love it if that was true.
And that's how I'm going to choose to believe
I would love it if that was true.
I guarantee you, it probably
if it's some white dude in a suit going, "Oh man, we could just like rake in the cash by doing this."
But that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, it's the stunt casting thing.
It's a slimy business.
I don't like thinking of it as a stunt cast thing.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised when they cast her as Ariel. I really was.
I had no idea. She's very pretty, though.
Yeah. She's very pretty, but like, I don't know. But
I've never seen her or anything. She's apparently part of a group with her sister or something.
I don't know. But I will say this, though. I think what Disney should do moving forward is maybe only release one live-action remake a year.
Oh my god, they're flooding.
Because there's three. There was 3 out this year.
There's 3.
Because there was Dumbo.
Yep,
Aladdin and Lion King. Lion King looks amazing though.
Now they already have a trailer on the big screen for Mulan.
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
And they just cast Little Mermaid, like.
But that's what I mean. Like maybe
they got 4 coming out this year because they got the sequel to Maleficent coming out, which was their Sleeping Beauty live action.
No, I remember Maleficent, but I forgot they were doing a sequel. That's right.
Yeah, so they got 4 this year. Yeah.
But then when these movies don't make bank because they can't breathe, then they're gonna be like, then what?
And that's the thing, they can't.
They can't. No, they
can't.
can't.
Aladdin is surprisingly making more money than I thought it was gonna. But Dumbo crashed at the box office.
That's the one that surprised me.
And Christopher Robin in November crashed.
Yeah, but that one I didn't think was going to be a huge one for them.
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be huge either. Even Mary Poppins didn't make it done.
That's another one I didn't think was going to be huge either. No, because those were both rebootquels. And, like, well, with Christopher Robin, that's a total nostalgia movie, period. Mary Poppins 2 is nostalgia-driven, but these are 2 tough movies, not so much both of them. I would say Mary Poppins is a tougher one because this is a 50-year-old sequel.
At least. My mom watched it. That's one of my mom's favorite movies. She went to watch this.
That's one of my favorite movies.
She went to watch this one in the theater.
So, exactly.
She never goes to the theater.
Exactly. So, So, like...
Yeah.
It's not even that you had, like, 2 generations removed that, like, your kids might not understand this, but like my mom saw this in the theater, right? And then I ended up watching it on video or on TV or whatever.
Yeah.
It was a classic when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
But like that's 50 years. If we say 50, if we just leave it at 50, that's like 2 generations.
Yeah, I mean,
when I say generations, I always forget that's actually huge.
It's from the 60s. It's
definitely from the 60s.
65 maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Around there.
But that's fucking
that's
crazy.
That's a long time for a
sequel. I
sequel.
mean, people are saying, like, when you wait 10 years for a sequel, you're pushing it.
Yeah.
Well, now we got 50 years. So I didn't think that was going to do good at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Disney, slow down, and maybe don't make your stunt casting so
we know you're this giant monopoly machine. We know.
Yeah,
you own like 50% of Hollywood now. Just
keep the stunt casting down to a minimum.
Chill it a little.
Yeah, just chill. Okay.
So, anyways.
All right. So
getting back home. Yeah, we got there from
Spider-Man
Zendaya. We got there. Yeah. MJ. I really loved her in here. She wasn't really moody, like more jokey in this one. In the first one, I wasn't sure about how she was played. This one, I liked it.
I liked her in the first one because not only was she a different representation of any Mary Jane that we've ever had before.
Yep.
But more specifically, she wasn't your stereotypical female friend, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, she literally stood on her own, was comfortable standing by herself, comfortable pointing out the inherent racism in almost everything American-based. You know, and almost served like kind of a nice little foil for Peter to keep him grounded.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because of course Ned is like, you can do all these things, this is awesome! And then she's just kind of like, yeah, you're still a loser. Not that she knows, but it's still just like, yeah, you guys are losers.
Well, apparently she did.
That's, well, starting to piece it together.
Yeah.
Now, that does lead into one of the things that's a little bit on, like, kind of a minus for me. But, like, her character in this movie, I liked her better in this movie because it seemed she was more fully formed.
Yep.
Plus, it's kind of interesting because she was very similar to Peter Parker in that there are times where they're both, like confident and empowered, and then there are times when they're completely nerdy and almost awkward.
Yeah.
So the parts where they were like being awkward to each other was really cute, and the chemistry is off the charts.
Really cute.
Off the charts. I can totally see why everyone's just like, oh, they're dating in real life. They're dating in real life. I still think it would be hilarious if, like, in real life, Tom Holland was gay. He just never said anything because he's like, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, I am, and that's it. You know? But anyway, so yeah, she was a standout for me, like, right away. Mm-hmm. Right away, she was a standout, and I remember saying, like, when we talked about, I think one of the 2 or 3 times that we may have referenced this movie coming up,
a few times.
I don't know if we talked about it that much,
no.
But anyway, so like I said in the trailer where they actually had her say, like, "Oh, that you're Spider-Man," and I was like, "Oh, man!"
They put that in the trailer, yeah.
Yeah, I really wish they didn't do that. But then watching the movie. It's great because, like, you forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then when you get to what you think is the scene, right, it starts to happen, and then they don't do it right away, and then you're just kind of like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so, like, it's good that they had that. Like, it was almost like it was a fake-out, per se. You know, I mean, obviously, immediately after that, they're like, yeah, okay, I'm Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Okay, but we gotta go. Which I thought was great. I thought that was really cool. But the one thing is that between the time of Homecoming and Infinity War and Endgame, and then the 6 months, I think it's 6 months between Endgame and Far From Home. 5 to 6 months?
I don't even think it's... Yeah,
let's,
about that.
Let's
half
say
a year.
4.
Half a year.
4 to 6. Let's say that. 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
So between that time, that's where Peter starts to realize that he really likes her. We don't see any of this. I guess that's the thing. We don't see any of this. So it's that short window. And I mean, like, obviously you can fucking fall in love with somebody within a short amount of time. I know that. Right?
Especially when you just came back from being dead for 5 years. Now you're like, well, life's clearly real short.
Yeah.
I like this girl.
Actually, that's a good point. That's a good point. I guess kind of what it was for me was, and this ties into the one big thing where, for a kid that disappeared on such a global scale, like he wasn't just in high school, and just like him and the rest of his family, they blipped out. He was like actively trying to stop it, didn't, came back, helped the guy save the world, and he's only really messed up about Tony's death. You know what I mean? Like it's. Mm-hmm. And it was just one of those where I'm like I feel like, even closer to home or whatever the fuck they call it, or Homeward Bound, or I don't know what kind of home puns they're gonna do. I hope they don't do another pun. Actually, realistically, I really hope they don't. I feel like between everything that happened at the end of the movie or the stingers, we might actually get to a little bit of a breaking point for him because like. He's got to break a bit. You know, like, this has got to all add up for the 17-year-old kid who's suddenly just like, well, technically I died. Like, no matter how you cut it, you died. Maybe that's why they're treating it so flippantly, because everyone did a blip, so to speak, and it's just like, well, it happened. You know? Because I keep saying he died, and he really didn't. He just kind of went somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy that the one guy who was Brad. I was happy that he aged the 5 years. Because I was saying that I was like, someone in that little small group has.
Yeah, that's right. No, but I also liked the part where right at the beginning when they're talking about the blip and the one dude was just like, Yeah. So I blipped. I come back.
My little brother's older than me.
My little brother is 5 years older than me. Like, now what happened to the Avengers? We don't have anything.
Just freaking
He's
out.
freaking out. And I actually I read a review where they were saying he should have been in the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
Because it would have been hilarious, like just so funny. And I agree. Like I think that perspective would have been cool because, and you're right. Like I liked that they had the one kid, and all of a sudden he's like their age.
Mm-hmm.
And, he's, I guess you could say he's attractive. I don't know. Whatever you're into.
Yep.
They could have had a few more of those, though. Like, a couple of more of those where it was just like, well, yeah, now I'm are they sophomore? They're in their final year of high school after this movie.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that was really cool. But the whole cast in general that came back.
Fantastic cast. They all have great chemistry together.
They all have great chemistry, but they all have gotten, they all got an upgrade. Okay?
Yeah.
Because, first of all, Betty Brant says way more in the first 20 minutes of this movie than she did in the entire first one.
Yep.
Right? Her chemistry with Ned was awesome.
It was so great.
So funny. So funny.
So
where
funny
it's just
what
like,
Peter-
we're bachelors. We don't need women. And then by the end of the plane ride, oh no, we're girlfriend, boyfriend.
Yeah.
You know, when you find love, you just kind of, you're like, oh my god.
The tables turn at the end.
Yeah.
Peter's like, I thought we could go on a double date. Oh no, we broke up.
Yeah, we broke up. It's just like, oh yeah, so it's the journey and just weird BS shit that you've heard other people say, and you're like, oh my god, this is so funny. But even Ned gets an upgrade where he's not as oh my god, you're Spider-Man, but at the same time he's still in awe of it, but it's almost old hat for him. So you get to see his interactions with MJ, when she finds out, and he's all just kind of like, I knew first, not a competition, but I knew first type of thing. You're like, that's kind of funny, but then she gets to kind of see it in the new eyes perspective, sort of thing. But there was the one scene in Homecoming where Ned just kind of goes fuck you, you could have died type of thing, right? And you feel like they almost get it. Ned almost, he gets, this is kind of serious stuff. I wish there was a little bit more of that in this movie where they kind of go, yeah, but, you're a fucking kid, and I guess that's kind of the thing with Aunt May, the few bits that she was in. It was really jarring for me to have her high-fiving, Spider-Man in the fundraiser and stuff and being all flippant because she knows exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, see, it was different because she found out at the end of Homecoming, but since Homecoming, he's gone to space, he's disappeared. They don't actually say whether she disappeared or not.
She blipped. They said she blipped.
Did she
she
blip?
said,
okay.
I blipped, and then when I came back, I was in my apartment, and it'd been so long that a whole family was living there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And they did a stand-up routine, which I thought was kind of funny. But I feel like it would be one of those things where I don't necessarily think she'd be high-fiving him and being
I think she would be more
she'd be way more protective.
Especially if Iron Man, the guy that she knew herself, died.
Well, that's what I mean.
If this guy, this pro at all of this, dies.
We talk about the blip flippantly, if we just say, okay, the blip happened, everything's relatively back to normal, this is still a mother seeing her son and knowing that anytime he leaves in that costume, he might not come back. And, to reference your Iron Man point, the guy that was better at this than her son didn't.
And it wasn't just him either.
Captain America
died.
Didn't come back.
Yeah.
As far as we know, the rest of the world knows, he
died during the war, yeah.
So you've got his two heroes dead. Right?
Yeah.
So, and I've said this before, when you're a superhero, you're gonna end up, you don't get that, happy ending.
No.
You can't.
You don't retire.
That's why, you had Pepper Potts San Antonio, you can rest now. Because up until that point, he was never gonna rest.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was that part that, even the part where she's she packed his costume type of thing. You think out of all the people, she would be the one to understand that at this point, he just wants to be Peter Parker. Even though, ultimately, he can't, and by the end of the movie, he realizes that.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
And he did make a choice, and he can't have it one way or the other. It has to be both. I thought it was just kind of weird that she was still just like, yeah, all right, you go get him, you know? Because even like, and I will reference Ultimate Spider-Man because that is an updated telling of Peter Parker's life.
Yep.
And I just reread it again. Okay? And when you actually break it down, we're only talking about a 2-year window in his life. You know what I mean?
It's very small.
You know,
that whole span.
It's like a 2-year window from the time he gets his spider powers to the time he dies saving Aunt May. That's a 2-year window. And it would struck me because, like, at one point, and this is, I think, like halfway through the run, like issue 50 or something like that, and MJ goes, like, people forget. It was only a couple months ago that his Uncle Ben died. And I was like, shit, it's been only a couple months. You know what I mean? And so I'll reference that. So even though she knew, and she knew she couldn't stop him, and she acknowledged that she was proud of him, and Uncle Ben would be proud of him, she did not want him to do this at all.
No.
And they never really talked about it much after the talk. It was just kind of, this was my day, to give you an example, and she just like, this is so crazy, I can't understand it. And then they just kind of sort of in passing reference it, but it's never really analyzed again because... Yeah. Because it's like, you know, the husband whose wife's a cop, you know? Yep. There's always that possibility they're not going to come back, but this is what they're going to do. You can't stop them. I wish there was a little bit more of that. Especially with the 5 minutes of on-screen time we got with her. You know?
Yeah, it's a short amount. Entertaining every time she was on.
Yeah,
the whole thing with Happy.
In the confines of the story, it makes sense that she wouldn't be in it that much.
Yes, they're in Europe.
You know, yeah, so she can't exactly show up. So it's not like I'm just like, oh. So or they purposely rolled around like she was sick or something. But it would have been nice to have at least a little bit more of a realistic take. Even though, yeah, every time. The whole movie's entertaining, though. Like, I gotta say.
It's entertaining, yeah.
It's very much like the Ant-Man, where it's a palate cleanser after the heaviness.
Yeah, very much so, yep.
Very much so. I didn't even realize that the same guys that wrote Ant-Man 1 and 2 also wrote Homecoming and Far From Home. I did not realize that at all.
Oh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, Chris McKenna and...
same guys?
Whatever. Oh yeah, I always forget that's upside down. Oh yeah, this is not good, Sally.
Chris McKenna. Chris McKenna and Eric Summers.
Yeah, and that's... where is it here? I thought I just had it. It doesn't say...
Interesting.
Yeah, Chris McKenna and Eric Summers. So I didn't realize that until this movie came out, and then I was like...
Well, that kind of makes sense now.
Yeah.
Similar humor.
Exactly.
Very, it's natural humor in this.
That's what I like about it too.
None of it feels forced.
No, but I think part of this, the chemistry, like even Flash Thompson.
Oh yeah,
he's got an upgrade.
He was so funny in this.
He was hilarious in this, but even like at the end,
the Flash Mob. Hey, Flash Mob, what's up?
That part was all hilarious. But then like when he's getting picked up and it's not even his parents, and he goes like, "Oh, Dad couldn't make it."
Yeah.
Oh. And you're just like. Now you start to feel for him. I actually read that they're possibly positioning him as the Harry Osborn character, which I don't think they should do.
No.
I think what they should
Osborn should be Osborn.
Yeah. Introduce Norman Osborn. Introduce Harry Osborn. Still have them be friends. Okay. I kind of wish they did the ultimate where they...
I don't think we're going to see...
Harry?
I don't think we'll see the Osborns until the 4th, to be honest with you. I think they're going to introduce Harry in college.
That's if there is a 4th with Tom Holland.
That's true.
Because he apparently only signed for 6.
I read 9.
I know. I remember you said 9, but I recently looked at that, and it was 3 Marvel appearances and 3 Sony movies was his contract.
He'll sign back on.
I don't see why he wouldn't.
He'll 100% sign back on.
It is one of those roles of a lifetime, and actually, like I feel like if you're listening, Tom, if he's smart.
Oh, he's obviously watching.
He's smart, so he's got the 6th book done. That's his contract. Negotiate per movie at that point.
That's what Evans did, right?
Robert Downey Jr. did it first, and then Evans did it.
Right.
Because Robert Downey Jr. was signed for 6. That's correct. And in fact, originally, because they all wanted them to sign for 9.
Yeah.
that was part of the problem with Evans, where he's like, I don't want to sign for 9. And then Robert Downey Jr. was like, then don't. Sign for 6. Then renegotiate afterwards. So, like, because for Robert Downey Jr., he got something ridiculous, like, was it like $50 million just for... Well, it was Iron Man 1, 2, and 3.
He got certain money, he got $20 million or something, and then he got a percentage of the box office take.
That's right. That's where
whatever the percentage was, it ended up being like $56 million or something.
Yeah, he ended up like making up. But okay, so it was Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. Then it was Avengers 1 and 2 and 3, and then everything after that was a renegotiation. Because then it was Spider-Man: Far From Home. No,
Homecoming.
Civil War.
Civil War was his last.
Civil War was his last. That's
Homecoming
right.
and both the last 2 Avengers were.
And those were the biggest fucking paydays for him.
Yeah.
And you're right, like he did get a percentage of the box office.
That's how he.
Which is insane when you think about it.
It's crazy.
Like absolutely insane. Could you imagine that? So I think that's. I feel like that's kind of the move he would do.
I feel like he'll do that too. Especially like Jon Watts wants to do Kraven in the next movie, and that would be amazing.
I thought about Kraven because they kind of hinted at it, and I mean with the way it ends, it certainly leads to that. But I kind of hope that they do Kraven like they did in the Ultimate version, where Kraven is built up like a Steve Irwin type of character.
Yeah, that's right.
And then all of a sudden, like he goes to like fight Spider-Man, and like of course Spider-Man's like 15.
Yeah.
And he's literally just like, I think he actually did the finger flick, which I don't think I ever saw it. Or no, I think he might have punched him. I remember that Bendis played fast and loose with his strength levels.
Yeah.
But I'd love to see that. Just like, oh, you're Kraven, boop,
boop,
and he's out cold and like totally fucked his career too. Like his TV career was done after that. He ended up having to get like he ended up being genetically modified so that he looked more like a cat later on. For the Ultimate 6 storyline.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that would be a really entertaining way to do it, especially if they built him up. But, I mean, obviously they'd probably want to go with the standard Kraven the Hunter, enhanced and stuff like that. But, okay, so, other than that little bit about the seriousness, the severity of what Peter Parker does and his Aunt May and that stuff, everything else I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is so great. The stuff with let's get to the...
You know what you want? Let's hop into Mysterio.
Yeah, that's where I'm going. Going right there. So, I'm going to say this right away, though. Many camcasts ago when we talked about this and the trailer where they talked about different dimensions, and you were like, multiverse, and I was like, yeah, no, it's not, because he's the ultimate con man.
I said I love the idea of the multiverse, but there's no way they play him as a hero in this.
No, we both agreed on that one, but I was very like, I don't think he's from a multiverse, and I also said, and I'm not even sure if that's actually Nick Fury and Maria Hill, and you went, oh, and lo and behold.
Though I would have much preferred Chameleon over what they did. Okay, well here's the thing. When we were talking about Spider-Sense, because I refuse to call it Peter Tingle, we were talking about Spider-Sense, and Nick Fury shot the dart at Ned, and we were like, well, why did Spider-Sense go? And we were like, well, maybe because it's Nick Fury, and in his mind he knows it's not really. But wouldn't Spider-Sense sense that wasn't really Nick Fury?
Nope.
No?
No, because the comic books, the Skrulls, actually got to a point, like in Secret War or Secret Invasion, it actually got to a point where Wolverine couldn't tell who was a Skrull. Peter Parker's spider sense wasn't set off by Skrulls because they got to that point of subversion.
Still wasn't sure if I liked to see the Skrulls.
But I will say this, though. They could have explained that.
Yeah.
Because even after, like, at least with
It was weird. It was really weird. Like, Fury's up on the ship, like, sitting on a beach that's not a beach.
Well, yeah, okay, but, like, I'll say this real quick about the Skrull stuff. At least it explained why you had Nick Fury, of all people, going, bitch, please, you were in space. Because I remember saying, like, that line, and at first I thought it was funny, but I was like, that's completely out of character. That is so grossly out of character that it got me to a point where I started saying, like, not every fucking Marvel character has to be a bro Joker.
Yeah.
You know? Like, Spider-Man has to be funny. Like, he's an inherently funny character. But at least what I liked about this, though, was that it very much reminded me of the Raimi Spider-Man, where Peter Parker's not really trying to be funny per se, but this is just how he's handling being Spider-Man because he's a kid, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, like, this Spider-Man is funnier than the Raimi Spider-Mans because they didn't really do too much in that aspect. But the Peter Parkers are very similar, which I really liked.
Yep. Yeah.
And even how they go about being a hero is very, very similar, which is also what I really liked. But one of the things I liked about this one, especially because of Homecoming, is they didn't do anything at all to try and mirror the Raimi movies. At all. Okay? That scene where in Homecoming where he's holding the ocean liner together, or the ferry, that's a direct reference to this train scene in Spider-Man 2. Yeah. And I don't care what anybody says. They knew what they were doing. They wanted you to make that connection. They wanted you to have that same feeling. The problem is that you didn't have the same feeling because you didn't have almost 2 movies of learning to love this character so much. Whereas at the end of that movie, like I said, like under that rubble scene, that's that Spider-Man 2 scene. Like that's the one where you go, okay, yes, this is it. So now that they don't even do that at all, they don't mirror any of the other movies, I was like, yes,
you can tell that Jon Watts appreciated those Raimi movies.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Because, I mean, they don't, story-wise, don't touch on anything from the Raimi movies here. But there is a little cameo at the end that directly touches on the Raimi movies.
Yeah, but anyway, I don't want to get too sidetracked.
But we'll get to that.
Because even though I called it and I was right about a lot of things, not that I knew that they were Skrulls or anything like that, but I was right about a lot of things. I absolutely loved Mysterio.
Mysterio was incredible.
I loved everything about Mysterio. I even loved the way they tied him into Tony Stark, even though I would have preferred that they didn't tie him into Tony Stark.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, so now we have 2 Spider-Man movies with 2 Spider-Man villains, and both villains are directly tied to Tony Stark.
Yeah, at least with these movies, though, because Peter Parker keeps sticking his webs in their business, they eventually are like, fuck it, we'll just kill him.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like Vulture was never trying to kill anybody. He was just trying to get his piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And to stick it to Tony Stark while doing so, even better. Quentin Beck, however, is crazy.
Yeah, they tied him right into, like, right all the way back to Iron Man 1.
Which I loved it. I loved when he was off to the side. That was great. I even
it makes me want to put on Iron Man 1 and look for that guy, because I'm pretty sure he was in there now.
No, he is. He's 100%.
Yeah.
It's the same one. It's exactly the same one. The scene that they referenced where he's reprimanding him, that's exactly the same scene.
Yeah.
But I was talking about the one where they did the barf technology.
Yes.
And they showed a clip of Quentin behind the curtains type of thing. He's like, fuck.
They named my life's word barf?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I loved everything about Quentin Beck. Saying he was a villain was easy. Like, even when he was starting to do the change, like, Michelle was like, so, like, is he a good guy or a bad guy? And I was like, I really don't want to say. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say. You know? But for us, of course, we were like, well, he has to be the bad guy.
I was like, no, Mysterio's gotta be bad. That guy's so
he has to be
so
a bad
damn
guy.
evil in the comic books.
Right? And they did all that talk about Molten Man. They named him, and they named Hydra Man, and they even referenced Hydra Man in the movie, like his actual real name and stuff. I like that they said all those things because it was a giant misdirection. Because I was sitting there going like, why would you waste a character like Hydra Man?
Yeah.
Hydra Man, like, in that sense, or Molten Man, like, these are low-level characters.
If they got it and named the other one Sandman, because I would have been like...
I would have been pissed. I would have been fucking pissed. Yeah. I'd have been so fucking pissed. Even though visually amazing, looked awesome, but I love the way they did it with drones.
Yeah, really cool.
Really, really cool idea. I also loved that he never really was in costume. He was in that weird, like, offshoot thing. Like, mocap almost.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And I was like, well, that explains the bowl he's got, because that's part of the whole motion capture. But I also love the fact that he had the one chick literally trying to unwrinkle his cape. When he has to go out in public
and meet the queen.
I'm going to
meet the queen after this.
I was like, holy shit. But, like, I loved exactly how they did it, too, because, you know, they talked about how he was going to be, like, the cool uncle.
Yeah.
to Tony Stark's, bearing father. And like I said right at the beginning, we're looking at a kid who's like desperately searching for a father figure. Even though he probably has a really good one in Happy, but whatever. So then when he latches on to Quentin Beck, you understand why he so quickly gives him Edith, which I didn't like. I didn't like Edith.
Did not like that at all.
And I hope that we never see that again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Out.
Okay? I don't want Spider-Man to be the next Tony Stark. Okay? But I also don't want him to have an army of drones to do with
I don't want to see anything. I want the next one to be like as fun as this was. I want the next one to be a Spider-Man movie. Happy can make an appearance, but I don't want I don't want to see him in a plane designing suits to AC/DC and jumping out. And
I did kind of think it was all right. I was okay.
It was okay. Like I was kind of laughing at it. Like I didn't cringe as much as I did in Homecoming.
Well, no, because
I want to Spider-Man.
Like I had said the same thing. Like with Homecoming, he had to. There had to be that much Iron Man, so that way when you get to that point where he's without the suit, and like I said, now it's a Spider-Man movie. Now he's realizing I just have to be me. Mm-hmm. So this is the same kind of theme, but just bigger because now you're dealing with a guy whose mentors. He lost his mentor. Now he feels like he's got to fill those shoes.
Well, that's right, because the way it ended, it made it seem like, I have to be the next Iron Man.
That's right.
I don't want you to be the next Iron Man. I want you to be the first Spider-Man.
No. In Homecoming, I don't feel like...
Not in Homecoming, but in this one. I feel like it ended on a note where he was like, I have to be Iron Man.
I don't believe that at all, actually. No? I feel like when he redesigned his own suit, which I thought you'd get a kick out of because he created his own suit.
Oh, I loved it. They even gave it a little glimpse of this on the screen.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
And a shout out with the...
Yeah, I thought that was
peace
great.
Sign.
What I liked... Oh, so he makes his own suit. I feel like him making his own suit was him acknowledging, no, I have to just be Spider-Man. Okay? Because when he's trying to be... Even when he was trying not to be Spider-Man and he was the Night Monkey,
the Night Monkey.
Ultimately... he gets it. Like, I think by the end of this movie, it's because this is like part 2 of an overarching theme. Yeah. And that's why I think number 3 will be the one where like this will be a Spider-Man movie because it can't not be. Yeah. Because he's no longer trying to show his mentor, hey, look, I can be just like you. I can be just like you because now because Sony says I don't want you to be me. I want you to be you, but be better than me, right? So then this one is like. I gotta fill his shoes, so I have to be the next Iron Man. And now Happy's saying, he never wanted you to be the next Iron Man. He just wanted you to be better than him. Like that kind of thing. So it was a reiteration of that theme, but they did it I feel like they did it better in this movie than that one. In Homecoming.
100%.
But I still look at it like
That's why I walked out of this like happy.
Yeah, so I feel like...
I was kind of just like, I enjoyed it, but something's off here.
Right.
Yeah.
I just rewatched Homecoming the other night, actually, and I think it is one of the better Spider-Man movies. It's top 5 for me, I think. We'll reassess it towards the end, we'll reassess. I'm pretty sure it's top 5, but anyway.
I don't think it'd be hard to be in the top 5.
Yeah, but anyway, so coming off of Vulture being such an amazingly nuanced villain, where you kind of get why he's doing it, and you can almost kind of say, well, yeah, fucking right. Root for the little guy. Until the end when you realize he's fucking rich, he's got a huge house, and you're just like, you're Tony Stark now. You're the guy you hate. Remember that. Just remember that. You're still ripping him off. Good for you. Suit of armor? You have a suit of armor. He's got a shit ton of cash? You have a shit ton of cash. Yeah. I don't understand what the problem. He's got other Avengers. You got the Shocker.
the Shocker.
But yeah, so that was really great. But Quentin Beck, what I liked about Quentin Beck though was that he was fucking crazy.
I felt with him, he was crazy, but I got a feeling kind of like Norman Osborn in Spider-Man 1.
Yes.
Where he did love Peter.
100%.
And he doesn't want to hurt Peter.
He liked Peter Parker right away.
But this idea has to go above Peter. And Peter has to be wiped out.
He basically, he gets to the point where he's like, I have to kill him.
Like when he said, never apologize for being the smartest person in the room.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. It was great. It was so great. Although that scene really started to bug me, though. with how many people that knows Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like the seamstress scene, I thought was like
just an MCU thing. I guess.
I literally was just like, okay, so now the seamstress knows, right? Or even when he walks in and he's got his mask on, and like Nick Fury's like, everybody knows who you are.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, okay, all right. And while it did it reminded me of the Ultimates, right? Because it's the same thing. Ultimate Spider-Man was the same thing. All the S.H.I.E.L.D. people knew. But it just seemed like that part was a little bit. But I was like, okay. The seamstress part really bugged me because I was like, anybody can fucking walk in. And then that Brad dude did. He took a picture. I was like, you weirdo. Fucking weirdo.
Yes, he was so funny.
And it's not even like yes, it's an MCU thing, but like I mean, I guess like if it's just S.H.I.E.L.D., fine, I get that because S.H.I.E.L.D. will be able to, or S.W.O.R.D., I guess if you want to talk about now.
Well, they're clearly setting up S.W.O.R.D.
Yeah. So like they have ways to get around this. Like I remember even in Ultimates where they ran Peter Parker's fingerprints or something, and they were just like, no, he's blackballed. Like he's S.H.I.E.L.D. We don't know who he is. We just know he's S.H.I.E.L.D. and we can't do anything about it. So, see you later. So, I mean, if they do stuff like that, then at least it's a little bit more palatable.
Yeah.
But, like, I gotta say, like, even though I think Vulture was the better villain of the two, fucking Mysterio was really cool. Really cool.
I personally, I like Mysterio better.
I guess because he's an actual... No, actually, I'd have to say about the same.
I just like Vulture was awesome.
Vulture,
and it was fucking Michael Keaton, so
yeah,
it was good times. But this Mysterio was so friggin' cool. Like the idea that Mysterio wasn't one person; it was this group of people.
The group part I thought was actually the group part I liked, but it also bugged me because that's now even more people that knows a Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Right?
Not that any of that matters now.
That scene in the bar was awesome because I was like, oh man, this is a really nice scene. But I was waiting for the switch. Yeah. So when the switch started to happen and everything started glitching, I was like, there we go.
Here it comes.
There we go. And then when that whole thing, and he was just like, that was great, guys. And he was all like, yeah, fuck Tony Stark. And everyone's like, yeah, fuck Tony Stark. And you're going to fuck him, and I'm going to fuck him, and everyone's going to fuck him, and it's great. I was like, this is awesome. Like, this is so great. I also really liked seeing him in that like knockoff version of his costume. I loved that part where he's like the Avatar setup.
And it made sense too that because one thing that was bugging me before the reveal was how his helmet just disappears. I wanted him to take it off.
I actually liked that it disappeared. I thought that was a nice little take.
Too many of the MCU characters doing that now, like Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man when he's in the Iron Spider suit.
You can't say Captain Marvel.
Star-Lord.
Oh wait, yeah, you can say Captain Marvel.
Star-Lord, you know, they just like gone, right? So, but then once they reveal that doesn't actually exist, it's an illusion. I was like, okay,
the costume was awesome. We talked about the costume.
It's practically spot on.
Yeah, it is actually like
they could have made him look like Vulture. They went totally different route with the Vulture.
They took liberties with Vulture, but
Mysterio looks like Mysterio from the comic.
Yeah, I know.
And Mysterio's really goofy looking in the comics.
He's fucking ridiculous.
So to make that look cool on screen,
like I've never once sat there and said like, yeah, no, that's a great costume.
Yeah.
They made sure that he had eyes.
The eyeball things.
They made sure that he had eyes.
The weird things around his wrist.
Yeah, like all this whole thing. But I loved his story where like he claimed to be from a different dimension. But even though we find out that Fury and Maria Hill were Skrulls, it really bugged me that no one fact checked that. Mm-hmm. Like they didn't sit there and go, okay, well, there currently is a Quentin Beck on this Earth. Where is he? How is it possible that you're not him? Like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. That part was one of those like, what? Really? Come on, right? Like for Peter not to question it, he's looking for a father figure. That's why when he gave the Edith to Quentin Beck so quickly, a couple of people were like, why would he do that? Like that was the whole fucking storyline behind Age of Ultron that Tony was like he fucked up horribly. So then Peter Parker does the exact same thing, and I'm like, yeah, but you're not seeing it from his perspective. Mm-hmm. His perspective, and he goes.
He's a kid. He's a kid. He's not thinking.
He's like, wait a minute, no. Tony Stark never wanted me to be the next Iron Man.
Yeah.
He wanted me to find the next Iron Man. But even then, that's him misunderstanding what Tony was getting at. Because, like I said, Happy's like, he never wanted you to be him.
Plus, Nick Fury trusts this Quentin guy. So if Nick Fury trusts him,
exactly.
he's got to be good.
Nick Fury trusted this guy with my identity.
Yeah.
So,
and Nick Fury's not Nick Fury.
Right. So, why not? Here you go. Mm-hmm. Sure, it backfires. And that's one of the things I really liked about it. Because, like, up until, like in Homecoming, up until he loses the suit, there's no real stakes for Spider-Man. And one of the key things about Spider-Man, which I find to be so endearing about the character, is that, like, unlike Iron Man or Batman or Spider-Man or Superman or Captain America, this is a guy that, like, life routinely shits on.
Yeah.
He's got bills he's got to pay. Well, like, in this case, he's got homework, girlfriends. He's got, like, he's, like, the worst friend and family member. Mm-hmm. Like, unless you know he's Spider-Man, he's the worst friend and family member because he's never there.
Yeah.
Or he's there, then he's gone, and he's always just unreliable. Because he's Spider-Man. Like, his life has not gotten any better because he's Spider-Man. In fact, it's gotten a hell of a lot worse. But he still gets out there, still puts the webs on, still saves lives, and that's really endearing. And this is where they start really hammering that home. Like, Raimi's movies, even in the third, really sell that. Like, yeah, sure, like at the beginning of the third and the worst Raimi movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even that one starts off where Peter's like on top of the world. Like, everybody loves Spider-Man. And his life's going really great. And then all of a sudden, well, now he's neglecting Mary Jane. And he's kissing, Gwen Stacy.
It's Bryce Dallas Howard, though. So
yeah, still.
We'll let it slide.
Yeah, our wives wouldn't let it slide.
Our wives wouldn't let it slide.
So, you know what I mean? And eventually, like, life gets back to shitting on him.
Yeah.
So it's towards the middle point that you start going like, okay, yeah, this is Spider-Man. This is a Spider-Man movie. So he's like a chips her down kind of guy, and they have this. So like he realizes, fuck, Quentin Beck's evil. I gave him Edith. Fuck me! I gotta save the world because fuck, I fucked up horribly. And he says it. He goes like, I fucked up bad. And Happy's just like, yeah, okay, but so did Tony.
Yeah.
Tony fucked up way more times. Like, all the time he fucked up. But, he never stopped trying to make it right. And that's one of those things where I'm just like, see, like, they're getting it. And I feel like this is becoming more of a cohesive Spider-Man now. So I think in the third one, especially, I think at this point, we'll just out it. Especially now that everybody knows Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's your mid-credit scene. The big reveal. Mysterio, I guess, was he dying or he didn't die? Peter thought he was dead, but he was still alive.
That's up in the air.
It's kind of. I think he's still alive.
I think at this point he's still alive. I think he's still alive.
Especially if they're ever going to go towards Sinister Six. I think he's alive.
I think he's alive because, but at the same time, like there was the scene where his partner there do quick computer thing USB, so he could have doctored the images.
That's true.
But,
plus if he was still alive, he'd be celebrated as a hero.
Right. Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see because again, we're talking about a fucking con man show or a con artist showman. So everything about him is a bullshit lie.
That was the weirdest Marvel end credit scene ever because it made me so excited and so angry at the same time.
I did the same thing. I literally was like, they got back J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons as J.J.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. And they actually did it really close to the Spider-Man PS4 version.
Yeah.
Where he's like...
as a TV...
like an Alex Jones sort of like Bill O'Reilly like political talking head where he just hates superheroes. Mm-hmm. Which is great. And even like if that's and I feel it's a one-off. I think
it's a one-off. I mean, they didn't even bother putting a JJJ wig on him. It was just he had his bald head. And
well, that actually surprised me too.
Which is fine, but the fact is that now this proves that Marvel Studios may be willing to take actors that are really perfect as their roles. Maybe. Because they touched the Raimi movies by taking him on.
They definitely touched
they've crossed over now.
They acknowledged that, but also, and the fact that so Quentin Beck outs Peter Parker as Spider-Man. Now, I will say this though, the nature of the way the clip was done, they don't have a shot of Spider-Man, like Peter Parker, in costume.
No, they just
showed a picture of him.
They show a picture of him, yeah.
So, in this day and age, you can argue that that's doctored and things like that. So there's ways around it.
It'll be interesting how they do it.
I am very intrigued by this.
Hey, it's a good way maybe to introduce Matt Murdock.
Yeah. Yeah, which apparently...
Maybe he'll need a lawyer.
Apparently by the time that movie's up,
then the Netflix thing will be done.
That Netflix clause will be done.
Maybe. You know what? If I saw Charlie Cox show up as Matt Murdock, I'd be so happy. So happy.
Just something where
like not even if he's Daredevil at all in the movie, just like Matt Murdock in a couple scenes.
Just a little tap on his foot with the cane and goes, you might need a lawyer, kid.
Yeah.
I'd be like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
Fuck!
Yeah.
This is awesome!
I'm so excited.
And then I would say, does that mean the what's his face? Jay Brenthal? Not Jay. Yeah, Brenthal.
John
Brenthal.
Yeah.
I get those names. Jay Baruchel.
And
then John Brenthal.
Baruchel.
Jano Baruchel. Anyway, Punisher.
Yes.
Like, could we have him too?
Yeah. Can we have
with rubber bullets?
Can we have Spider-Man up against Wilson Fisk?
It would have to be rubber bullets though, because
he
couldn't kill, I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
But anyway, so Peter Parker is essentially outed. He's okay. First of all, he's the whole thing that happens, like all the things that Mysterio did, killing people and all that destruction and everything in Europe.
He's put it all on Spider-Man.
Blames it all on Spider-Man, and then 1-2 punch outs him as Peter Parker. So that's huge, especially which actually kind of bugged me because that end scene there where he's swinging around is the only scene that we see the untouched version of that costume.
Yeah.
So no CGI overlay or anything like that. So, like, that costume looked fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah.
The red and black costume looked absolutely
it looked
amazing. And I wish that they would have eased up on the amount of CGI overlapping they did in the fight scenes. But the fight scenes were awesome.
Oh, so good.
The two Mysterio scenes...
Oh, the first one was nuts.
The first one was incredible.
He shoots Nick Fury, and then everything just starts crumbling.
As soon as he did that, I was like, yes! I was so pumped in the theater when they did it with like a giant video game level.
Yeah.
And then like he'd punch something
just like the
and miss it,
Scarecrow
and the next thing you know, exactly, punches and then it's a column. He's actually punching stuff in real life, but then he falls out of the building, and it's actually like him falling.
Gets hit by a train.
Like, that part was crazy. That was nuts. But that whole sequence was awesome. And he's in his standard Stark suit, which I got a kick out of.
Mm-hmm.
Really liked that. Because I was at that point, I was like, can we see him in the costume? Like an actual Spider-Man costume for longer than the 30 seconds in the beginning of the movie where he was in the Iron Spider suit? Which I didn't like, but I understood why he was wearing it.
Yeah.
Because he's the next Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, he wore 4 suits in this movie.
And that's another reason why I feel like he's actually going to be Spider-Man. He's not going to look at himself as the next Iron Man. He's going to be better than Tony Stark and be Spider-Man because he designed his costume with red and black, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a cloth suit. It's like that.
Yeah, he could have went the metal.
He could have.
He could have,
but he made sure that
okay, here's hoping. And hey, it's only going to happen if this makes $1 billion. So
yeah, that's right. Which it will.
It will.
It's
at like 600 already. It's going to be the biggest Spider-Man movie.
Which I'm so happy for it. I'm so happy for it, especially because that means more Tom Holland in this role, and especially because it means that like Jon Watts and the screenwriters McKenna and Summer have not only they got a really good handle on Peter Parker and Spider-Man, especially now. Like I feel now more than ever they this is I think it's always been the plan to bring him to that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then you also got an excellent handle on some of the best supporting cast members in any of these movies.
Yep.
It's not like 1 or 2 is the standout, because every one of these movies has 1 or 2. Like, in the Iron Man movies, it was Happy and Pepper Potts.
Mm-hmm.
And with a side order of Rhodey, right? Depending on which movie you watch.
And Coulson.
And, but Coulson wasn't a focal point. He was a threat.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay,
then you look at Captain America, and you've got, like, Peggy Carter, and you've got Bucky.
Yeah.
And,
well, I guess the whole Howling Commandos.
Yeah. You know, and then, of course, in the second one, you still get Peggy Carter, you get Bucky.
Yeah.
You know, but now you got Sharon Carter.
Sharon's there.
Right?
Yep.
So they all have their own cast of characters. Thor's the only one where, like, his cast of character changes for each movie.
Yeah, there's always, like, 1 or 2 Yeah, like he killed.
Actually, no. The first two were
Odin
about
and
the
Loki
same.
are always there.
First two were about the same, and then after that, it was just like, let's reset the board.
Yeah, after that, it's just like, right, let's throw shit at the wall, see what sticks.
You know, so but for like that many students to be in this movie, like to have their own distinct voices, be their own characters.
They're all fantastic.
You know, like sure, you could take some of these characters out, and you're not going to lose the movie.
You know,
I'm glad they're in it.
And the two teachers were awesome too.
Yeah,
the whole airplane part was so funny. Where it's like, what? Peter's got bad allergies? That's not a laughing matter.
Yeah,
and then he ends up seeing
the only part that I was like, was the scene with the camera. That was the only part because you knew the camera was going in the water.
Yeah.
And when they didn't, I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then they did.
And they dropped it.
Okay. But JB Smoove is great.
Yeah.
I love JB Smoove. Yeah. I loved him since Curb Your Enthusiasm. I actually read the rumor was that he was going to be J. Jonah Jameson, and I actually thought that would have been a good choice to do it. But I'm glad that they went the way they did.
It's crazy they went the way they did.
I
don't know. That excited me so much. In the theater, I went, whoa! Yeah. And Adrian didn't have a clue.
But of course, so when I messaged you and I said, yeah, there's one part at the end there that I didn't like, and I knew you weren't going to like it. And it's when they outed his identity. But it's only after, like, even the next day, I was kind of like, yeah, but it'll see. Like, I'm actually kind of intrigued to see how it'll play out. My first reaction was, no.
I feel
like not every superhero.
Yeah.
Like one of the biggest things about Spider-Man, and also Daredevil's another one too. The secret identity is so intrinsic to the character that when you remove that aspect, it actually robs those characters of a bit of the drama. Mm-hmm. Part of the problem, part of the reason why the Daredevil Netflix show was so good was because, and it's the same thing. Daredevil's another character. Life shits on him.
Oh.
His life isn't better because he's Daredevil. No. In fact, it's fucking worse. So I think that's another reason why him and Peter Parker mesh well, because they're both just like, hey, life hates us, but we still save lives, right?
Yeah.
But so Daredevil's secret identity is so tied to it that you almost think about it and it's like, well, he couldn't do what he does without it. Mm-hmm. Like, he needs that. And even in the Bendis run where he gets out, like, his identity is outed and the whole thing is about stopping it. Even in Mark Waid's run, it was all like they made a point of not saying like, no, I'm not, and then eventually at the end of the run, he goes, "Fuck it, let's lean into it." I didn't like that. Not when he had the red suit on. I thought that was really dumb because it just takes away one more thing. Like Captain America, Iron Man, the Avengers, they don't need secret identities because you know they're Avengers. Mm-hmm. How are you going to touch the Avengers? You know, you're not. Yeah. Peter Parker, however, needs to have a secret identity. So I am intrigued on how they're going to do it moving forward.
I think it's too soon.
Oh, I agree. Like I feel like it's one of those
he's finally getting to the point where he's going to be the hero more closer that we know.
Yeah.
And they've just totally derailed that now.
I agree, especially because like I feel like when you out his identity, that's when we start looking at killing him off. You know? Because now it's more or less like that, the Death of Spider-Man Ultimate Story, where it's that last stand, his mask's off, but it doesn't, like, the whole neighborhood is there, and they're just like...
It is a kid.
Like, it's fucking Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and those guys are killing him. You know, and it's that last stand type of thing. I feel like the only time you out his identity is if you kill him off. Now, I don't think they're going to kill him off, but then again, we have a Sorcerer Supreme. Yeah. We got some Skrulls floating around.
Who knows where it's going to go now?
We've got Fantastic Four showing up at some point. X-Men at some point.
I actually read a rumor that Annihilation is what Marvel's building to right now.
They should.
And if that's the case, you got Annihilus. Why not?
Yeah.
You got the right.
They should.
Do it.
Fucking do it.
You got Surfer now?
And then tease Galactus. In fact, tease Galactus at the beginning of Annihilation, hit Annihilation, and then just be like even in Annihilus' dying breath, just be like, he's coming. That's all you gotta say.
And can you imagine that? Like, you go against Annihilus, you have the Annihilation event, it's done, now you're leading up to the big Galactus saga, and then you could literally throw a sweet amount of money at Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. to bring him back one last time against Galactus.
You could.
That would be huge.
I would just recast them.
Yeah.
I know, where you're coming from, because you're bringing them back type of thing, but we don't know how the Falcon-Bucky show is going to play out, because Falcon is Captain America now, so we don't know how that's going to play out. I really hope they don't do the Falcon cap suit, though.
Oh, they're going to. You know they're going to. They're going to keep the wings. 100%.
Oh, man.
I know, it's an awful suit.
You know what it is?
You know what? Bucky's suit was pretty crappy, too.
Actually, I liked the Bucky suit because thematically it worked. In retrospect,
For him, I guess.
In retrospect, what I wouldn't have done was do the shiny metallic.
Yeah, and then just black all the way down.
Black down, it's stylized, right? So
Yeah.
it's almost like that part's his shield, right? Which I liked, and I liked that it was black sleeves with black gloves, because it referenced that he had a sword on him, he had the shield, and he had a gun.
He had a gun.
Okay.
This wasn't.
And even
Captain America.
in Brubaker's run, you have Bucky going he's trying to be like Captain America, but then eventually he's just yeah, but I have to be my own Captain America. And, so he pulls out a gun, he's using his sword. So it's that worked in the sense that it's his own Captain America, and he's going to be a little bit more darker because he's not the symbol that Steve Rogers is. He represents America, which America is right now, or at that time period, whereas Captain America, Steve Rogers' Captain America, represents the ideal. What we should strive to be like, right? It's like Superman. Superman has to have bright colors because he represents hope.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't represent hope in the same way, so he's got to have those darker colors. So I disagree with that assessment, except for the shininess. Because I remember thinking, it's the middle of the night and he's glinting off the sun. The moonlight is glinting off his shoulders. I was like,
It's what's that over there? Oh, Captain America's running at us.
Not only that, it's a darker suit. It's darker blues, reds, and whites. So obviously he's looking at more of a stealth capability. But yeah, you're right. I think Captain America is trying to break into the compound. What do you mean? How do you know? Well, the moonlight is glinting off his blue shoulders there, and there's a shield. Yeah. Okay, guys, brace for impact. But the Falcon costume, I hated the Falcon costume. I mean, keep the wings because it is part of him, but I almost would have preferred it if you had Falcon learning how to fight without the wings.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. He's going to be his own Captain America. He should be his own Captain America. If you're going to do wings, at least make the costume a little bit more predominantly blue instead of predominantly white. And give him a full helmet.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to have that weird cutoff thing so you can see that he's got black curly hair.
Yeah.
You see, he's fucking black here. I'm not going to see a guy in a black face mask, a mask, and his mouth showing, and then go, he might be black, but I didn't see his hair. I couldn't tell you if he had curly, afro-like hair. So, he could be anybody.
Yeah.
He could be any color.
The hair. The hair is what gives it away. It was weird to not see a Stan Lee cameo.
Oh yeah, it was super weird.
I felt it.
Super weird.
Felt it. As soon as the end credits hit, I was
even
my
Michelle
first
said
thought, I was like, that was so weird.
Even Michelle said it. She's like, this is the first movie without, and I said, yeah, and she went,
since 2000.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep, felt it. Definitely missed it.
Yeah, definitely felt it.
Great soundtrack.
Great soundtrack.
But the score was kind of
The score was...
There was no coherent theme to it.
No.
And I feel like Spider-Man should have a theme.
Yeah,
100% have a theme.
We're talking about, we constantly reference the Raimi movies. The Raimis had, a theme.
I went through all of them, yeah. Yeah.
But what I do, the only real score that I like is their version of the Spider-Man song.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah, they did it in the trailer, but I don't remember hearing it in the movie.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I don't think I...
They straight up did in the trip.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But in here, I don't remember it at all.
No.
Which is weird.
But it was a forgettable soundtrack.
Yeah.
The soundtrack was good.
Soundtrack was awesome.
Forgettable,
it was an awesome soundtrack.
Forgettable score. The special effects were amazing.
Especially the Mysterio stuff. Holy crap.
I don't even think...
No, and the monsters?
Like, everything looked so polished.
Yep.
Like, and I'm used to watching a big budget Marvel movie like this and seeing some glaring CGI issues, especially like a $1 billion blockbuster Black Panther. That end fight scene looked like shit. It shouldn't have looked that bad. It looked fucking terrible. Terrible. I didn't see any issues, like, even though I complained about the CGI overlay on the suit, I kind of give it a pass because it also allowed for battle damage to show up on the suit, which I was like, I love seeing battle damage.
Yep.
Oh, here's one thing that the guy from High Top Films said that it just really bugged him was that, like, the bridge scene where Peter Parker kisses MJ, and they do that quick little, like, weirdo kiss, and then they have the full-on kiss.
Yeah.
I don't hate the scene, but I didn't like how long it was, because I spent the whole time going, like, your mask's off. You're lucky no one is around here.
Yeah.
Your mask is still off. You kissed her already. Get the fuck out of here. Okay, give her another big kiss, but your mask is off. Finally puts the mask back on. I was like, okay, thanks. And the other thing, though, is while I enjoyed the scene where he's swinging around New York with her, I also didn't like it because I was like, yeah, but, like, you know, people saw you pick her up on the corner of a street, spin her around the city, and then drop her off. What's stopping anybody from being like, well, how do you know Spider-Man?
Yeah.
You know? He seems to be around the same height as you.
Which she's going to get now after that ending.
Well, everyone is.
Because everyone looked, what, Spider-Man? Why are you with him? Do you know who that is?
But that's exactly, so it's just, it was one of those where, like, it was a great scene. I feel like it would have been a great deleted scene, you know? Like, you could still do the big reveal, because the reveal is huge to the ending. And like I said, like, it actually allows for a lot more story potential than I would have thought possible. Even though I agree with you that I feel like that's an endgame scenario. You out his identity, you're leading to his death. You're
leading to the end.
Because now you're leading for, like, Miles potentially to take up the mantle. Yeah. Which I don't think they're ready for that anyway. No. And if they are pushing for that now, it's too soon. Yeah, Spider-Verse was an absolutely amazing way to introduce that character to the rest of the world. We have to remind ourselves, or at least Sony has to remind themselves, that that was still largely a comic book niche movie, okay? It did better than all of us thought it was going to do, but that was still...
That was word of mouth, though, because it did not open big.
But that's what I mean, like, but that's still, like, comic book fans saying, go see this movie. Go see this movie. It's one of the best Spider-Man movies, if not the best Spider-Man movie you'll ever see in your entire life.
Then it got nominated for the Oscar. When it got nominated for the Oscar, more people went to watch it.
But casual fans, like even Michelle, I didn't watch this with her. Yeah. I didn't watch Spider-Verse with her, and I actually said, I don't know if you'll like it, because she doesn't really like animated movies, for one. And two, that's really comic booky. Like, that's a really comic book concept with having multiple Spider-Mans. Yeah. And I can just see a lot of casual fans going like, I thought Peter Parker was Spider-Man. Okay, so we've got different dimensions, and
it's very confusing.
That Spider-Man,
the regular
that
person.
Peter Parker Spider-Man is dead, but the fat one is...
Because I brought my parents came with me to watch it.
Yeah.
Because it was my birthday movie.
Yeah, thanks for the invite.
Yeah. You were invited.
Wait, did I go with you?
I think you did come with us.
Oh, that's right, I
did come with us.
I did, that's right.
So you're welcome for the motherfucking invite.
Right. A little bit of an asshole. I gotcha.
But yeah, no, the whole time they were confused as shit. You can see it on their faces.
Yeah, so if Sony is going to lead into Miles this quickly, that's stupid. If you're going to do it, you have to do it in the next 3-movie arc. Yeah. Okay, so I should say when Tom Holland signs on for the next 3, and kudos for them for doing a 2-year window. If they keep up with another 2 years, then 2021, right? And then he's going to be 26.
Yeah, you want to do it while he's young
and then by the time you get to the third, so introduce him in the first movie of Phase 2, I guess, of Spider-Man, or Phase 3, I guess you can call it. Yeah. Introduce Miles. Just introduce him, kind of in passing. You know what I mean? No, if they're gonna...
the best way to introduce Miles would be for Peter to take on the Prowler.
Yeah.
And meeting Miles that way.
Yeah, but I also think if they're going to do it, if they're really going to do it, then they really should just look at the Ultimate Death of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And really follow closely to that.
Right, that's why they got to put the Sinister Six together.
No, and I agree, and I think that's what we're heading for.
Yeah.
I think what they will do is they might actually sub Shocker in for Electro, which I hope they don't, but I think they will because it's an easy way for them to go, remember the character from Homecoming? Well, now he's back and he's better than ever, right?
Yeah.
The Tinkerer messed around with some shit, and now he's actually more like Ultimate Electro or Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think they're going to sub him in because Amazing Spider-Man 2 was so poorly received. Yeah. And I like Jamie Foxx. That was a garbage fucking character for him to play.
Oh, yeah, especially since he played it just like the Riddler from Batman Forever.
Which, okay, not his fault. He was told to do that.
Oh, no.
He was told to do that.
Oh, no, 100%.
Then how come when he gets his Electro powers, his teeth are fixed? Like, I mean, I can get the haircut because, okay, you got electrified and, you know, and you got a mix of genetics and eels. Electric eels, I think, was his fucking...
Something like that, yeah.
And so they don't have any hair on their bodies, so naturally you shouldn't, right? But your teeth got fixed. I always find it funny, too, when you have, like, really nerdy loner characters that also go to the gym regularly enough that you can tell that they've got, like, arms on them.
Yeah.
Like in Jim Carrey's never really looked ripped. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. He was never, like, huge, but he's always kind of had that, like, athletic, like, tight, ripped body type of thing. But, like, his worked because he was a fucking, like, weirdo science guy.
Yeah.
But he was never like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Mr. Freeze, where you're like...
Yeah.
You literally devoted your life to bodybuilding and science, and you still managed to get a girl. How do you find time in the day, right? But yeah. So I feel like you introduce him casually in the next set of movies and lead to Peter Parker's ultimate death. As much as I hate to say that, because you can't have them both at the same time. I know they're doing it in the Marvel comic books. The comic books are different because you can have the adults reading Amazing Spider-Man. Yeah. You can have the young kids reading Miles Morales Spider-Man. Or both, like whatever. But in the movies, again, it becomes too comic booky and it's too much for casual fans. And that's ultimately what we're trying to do, is bring in casual fans. So these movies continue to make billions, right? Yeah. And sort of reference Spider-Verse, if it gets too comic booky, like even Michelle will just be like, is that the Black Spider-Man you were telling me about? I don't understand. Like, why is there two? And if there's two Spider-Man, why can't we just have, like, Peter Parker? You know what I mean? Or, like, do they have to both be in New York or something to that effect, right? Like, it's weird because Marvel, this is where Marvel's different from Batman. Like, you can have, like, in Gotham, you can have Batman, you can have, like, Batman and Robin together, but then you can also have Nightwing, you can have Red Robin, you can have, like, Batwoman, and they can, and Red Hood, and they can all have their own sections of Gotham. But in Marvel, then even though you think about it, and you're like, well, New York alone has Spider-Man and Captain America and Iron Man,
half the Marvel universe,
Daredevil and Punisher and Moon Knight and
Fantastic Four.
The X-Men are just outside of New York, but they're so close. Yeah. You know. So then you go, okay, do we need two Spider-Men in New York? Yeah. Right? Like even with Spider-Man PS4, and I'm excited for Spider-Man 2. I am absolutely excited for Spider-Man 2, but if Miles Morales starts becoming more like Spider-Man, then eventually, like, I know myself, I'm going to be like, that's all well and good, but I'll just play it as Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, why wouldn't I play as Spider-Man? Oh, by the way, if you do the download, the new costumes look sweet. Yeah? I'm currently rocking the Far From Home suit right now. Nice. It looks awesome. I was doing the Future Foundation one because that white and black just looks incredible. The red and black looks absolutely awesome. I didn't do Night Monkey yet. I might not. Yeah. Because I played a little bit more of the DLC just to do that, but it does look fucking sweet. Yeah. So overall, I would give this 4 Chris heads out of 5. It loses a full head for all the stuff that I mentioned about the things that I didn't like. That all adds up. I like this infinitely more than Homecoming, and I really liked Homecoming.
I gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Which is a whole one above Homecoming. Homecoming I gave it 3.5.
I think I gave Homecoming 4 out of 5 actually. I may have to bump it up to 4.5 because I do like this more than Homecoming. Because at least with the Tony stuff here, it felt organic.
Yeah.
And while there was that specter of Tony Stark in the entire movie, it didn't feel like they were smashing you in the face with it. Like, even with the marketing, wasn't as heavy-handed with the Tony Stark stuff as it was in Homecoming. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, real quick before I forget. I loved that 90% of the scenes that we saw in the trailers were deleted scenes.
Yeah.
Or, like, scenes where he was in the Stark suit, but he was actually in the Iron Spider suit. Like in that...
the good old classic MCU
switch
up.
I was like, you know what? And I said that too. I was like, I hope that there's a lot of fake outs here. And there were a lot of fake outs.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that Jon Watts said, like, well, most of those were deleted scenes because I wanted it to be a surprise. I was so glad he did it. So glad he did it. So, okay, so, like, I guess if we're going to put the order for me...
Rank them. Throw Venom in there, too.
Okay.
Because I threw Venom in mine.
All right, so then if we're ranking them, it's still Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
That is still untouchable. Very, very close second, Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. Very close second. And then from there, this one I was really wrestling with my third one. But I actually, because I just rewatched the Spider-Man, like the Raimi movies recently, I actually will edge out Spider-Man 1 to Far From Home. So Far From Home is now my third favorite movie. And then from there, because I've already bumped, but, you know, rewatching Homecoming again, I would actually put Homecoming 4th and then Spider-Man 1 5th. Okay. And then...
That leaves you with Venom and the Amazings.
Oh, that's easy. Venom. Okay.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Yeah.
And then Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man 2. Fucking horrible.
That's the bottom of the pile for me, too.
Yeah. Oh, no. We forgot Spider-Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
You didn't do Spider-Man 3 either.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, Spider-Man 3 be after 1?
I would say Venom and then Spider-Man 3. And then...
the Amazings.
Yeah.
Still
Because while on our Venom Camcast, I said that there is that feeling that Venom wasn't quite sure what it wanted to be, especially in the first chunk of the movie. Mm-hmm. Once it got to once he became Venom, officially, like you actually leading up to that, and they got rid of the whole body horror stuff, and they kind of leaned into that black comedy. It knew exactly what it wanted to be, and it didn't shy away from that. In fact, it leaned into it without being like over the top. So it was kind of like their own Deadpool spin without being a full-on Deadpool ripoff. Whereas Spider-Man 3 is very much like Amazing Spider-Man 2, where there's a lot of shit going on.
Too much.
And, like, you could totally, like, even now watching it, and I don't think it's as bad as I remember it. Like, even now I'll say, like, there are parts that I think are really good.
Yeah.
But you could totally tell that they were literally, like...
The studio was just...
Like, you could feel that Raimi was like, this is the movie I want to do, and then they were like, yeah! Fucking put Venom in that shit, man! Yeah. And he was like, so what do I do with Vulture, then? Get him the fuck out.
Yeah.
What do we care about an old dude that can fly? We got fucking Venom. Oh, okay, so I will have Venom in the movie, and we'll kind of seed him into the second, like the fourth movie? No. He's going to be in this movie. Oh, okay, well, can I still use Sandman? Yeah. Make sure he's a fucking 1,000,000 feet tall, though. Okay, alright. Oh, and also, have Harry become the Green Goblin. But we won't call him the Green Goblin. We'll call him the New Goblin. And put him on a fucking skateboard.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I'll do all those things, and you still want me to do the fourth movie? Yeah, for now, we do.
Yeah.
You know? Because I want to do the lizard in the fourth movie. Good. Don't forget he said the lizard. right? And then you watch Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then you go, "What the fuck's wrong with you, Sony? Did you not learn your goddamn lessons?" We're literally one movie removed from the reason why you rebooted this franchise in the first place. And there's a lot I don't like in Amazing Spider-Man 1. There's so much more I don't like in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is hard for me to rewatch. Number 1 I can rewatch. Because there was enough decent stuff.
I can't at all.
I enjoyed Venom.
I loved it.
I thought it was a ton of fun.
Anyway, what's your order?
Spider-Man 2 still.
Yep.
And I was flipping back and forth between Spider-Verse on that. But then I watched Spider-Man 2 again, and I was like, nah, it's still Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
It's still Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Verse is a perfect comic movie. Spider-Man 2 is a perfect Spider-Man movie.
Yes, exactly. And that's exactly why it can't be in the top spot.
Yeah. So, it's Spider-Man 2, Spider-Verse, still Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
Yep. I rewatched that one, too, and it's still, I love that movie. Then Far From Home.
Yep.
So, hey, it made it into my top 5, right? So, it's doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Venom.
Yeah, that's okay.
And then Homecoming.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3, Amazing 1 and 2.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2 is so fucking bad.
It's
so fucking bad.
Horrible.
You introduce Rhino.
Yeah.
You introduce... well, I guess technically you introduced a Green Goblin.
Yeah, but like they didn't even really show Rhino till the very fucking end, too.
No,
like,
they introduced the character at the beginning.
Right.
And then they introduced, Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. And then they also introduced Green Goblin, Harry Osborn.
Yeah.
And, like...
Electro. And it's just
and then Electro.
Too much. And Rhino looked awesome. Like, the trailers kept showing Rhino off. And then you realize that's the last 30 seconds of the movie.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I will say that I loved the difference in the costume. Like, I think the more classic costume looked better in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
The costume looked awesome.
You know,
that was straight out Tom McFarlane's book right there.
Yeah, exactly. So that looked really good. But like at this point, nothing tops the. For me, really, nothing tops the MCU Spider-Man costumes, except for Spider-Man 2. The only thing I don't like about Spider-Man 2's costume is that mirrored eyes. But that's the thing I don't like across all three of those movies is the mirrored eyes. Like it was cool at first, but then when you see like Amazing Spider-Man did the clear eyes, and even like Homecoming did the blinking. The blinking I was like, eyes. See, guys, you could have done it. You guys could have done it.
Yeah.
And how shiny the webbing looked on his costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when you rewatch it, you're like
that. In that case, it is a product of its time because all those movies look like that.
Exactly.
They all look like
and that's
that.
True. That's true. But I love Spider-Man 2's costume because the red's a little bit brighter, the blue's a little bit brighter, so it adds more pop, and especially in that subway scene, you know, when they're carrying him, you're like, man, that's fucking awesome. But then you see the Stark suit, and I love that it's a bright blue and a bright red.
Yeah.
So even though it's a red and black now, moving forward, or whatever they do, but I hope we see. I hope he doesn't change his costume, actually. I really hope we see almost the entire movie of him in the red and black.
I hope so. I guess it'll all depend on what he might not even be in the costume. He might have to switch his costume to something else. He might be Bagman.
Yeah, he might be Bagman, or it might be the Slingers, like Ricochet.
Yeah.
And whatever the fuck the other ones.
He'll probably do Scarlet Spider.
Don't.
Ripped blue tank top. Well, that was fun. We got one Insta question by this guy named Be Like Superman.
I actually didn't think you were gonna do this. I straight up was like, "There's no way. There's no way," but I did it anyway.
What is it about
Spider-Man? Hold on, just for the record, the Twitter question.
Yeah.
From Be Like Superman, it's from me.
That's him.
I'm Be Like Superman on Twitter.
So, like, come on.
And on Instagram.
Come on. Ask some questions. Seriously.
On Instagram, I'm also Be Like Superman.
Yeah. So. Reply down below with questions. We'll answer them. But in this case, Be Like Superman goes, what is it about Spider-Man that makes him so great? To me, relatable. Yeah. I've always thought he was relatable.
Yeah.
As a kid growing up, a geeky kid, no girlfriends.
Yep.
Definitely on the outside of all the cool kids. You can relate to Spider-Man.
Yep.
Because he was us.
Yep.
100% us. Which is kind of probably why the MCU version's still kind of, because I can't relate to him as much because he's got all this high-tech shit going on.
Okay.
So in that case, like that's always going to kind of bug me. So that's why I'm kind of hoping he gets more Spider-Man-ish, so I can relate to that once again.
Yeah.
Because that's why I can never relate to any DC characters. They're aliens or millionaires.
I would argue that you're looking at that too flippantly,
Okay.
Because
I mean, I can't obviously relate to being bit by a magical spider that gives me powers.
No, but like Superman, for instance, you can relate to a guy that only has ever wanted to do good.
Yeah,
and uses uses his gifts. We'll call them superpowers to help the world, but you could use your own gifts by being, a good guy or a smart guy or a funny guy or just being you. All the things that make you unique, using that to help people. That would be how you relate to Superman. See what I mean? See what I did there?
I do. I relate to aspects, but it's the same reason why I'm
not going to argue.
I was never a huge fan of Iron Man for the same reason.
Oh, me neither.
Billionaire in a steel suit. I can't relate to
even
that.
now, and I mean, like Tony Stark or Robert Downey Jr. did a hell of a lot to shape Tony Stark now in the comic books, but because I've said this before, there are plenty of characters that I've always loved the concept, never read the books.
Yeah,
Captain America was one that I loved the concept, never really read the books. And even now, I kind of go back and forth. But, like, the movie representation is great. So, okay, for me, same thing. He's relatable. He's us.
Relatable. He's us. He's us.
He has bills to pay. Yep. He's got girlfriend problems. He's got job problems. He, like I said a while ago, is that, like, it's different if his life was made better because he was Spider-Man, but he's constantly being between cops loving him or hating him, New Yorkers loving him or hating him, based on the time of day or the week. Yep. The only time that I really thought it was weird, where everybody seemed to hate him, was the most recent Spider-Man Nick Spencer run.
Yeah.
Remember when they first started?
Yeah, that was weird.
The Avengers were like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
I was like, I must have missed something.
Like, what did I miss? Was it all just because Dr. Octopus was pretending to be you and then claimed all that stuff, and then you never changed? You never said, "Hey, that wasn't really me. That was actually his." Yep. You know what I mean? Like, all the Avengers hate you for that? Like, what? But because like life just keeps fucking nailing him and knocking him down, that he keeps getting back up. I actually, for me personally, that's what I resonate with, because, like, I mean, my life isn't terrible.
No, but you've had your share.
But I've had my fair share of, like, knockdowns, and, like, even as a young kid, like, I was getting knocked down as a young kid, and I always, like, look back at it and I go, like, you actually did, like you keep getting up, you know what I mean? Like, so it's one of those where, like, even as I'm an older old man, becoming a fucking old man, I'm still just like I look back and I go, like, I don't think it's that bad, but other people will hear and go, that's actually pretty fucking bad, and you're like a bystander, so you're like, well, yeah, so for me to be where I'm at now is incredible, because I could have gone so many different routes, but I kept getting knocked down, and I kept getting back up, and I don't give myself enough credit for that, but then again, that's why I read comic books, so I can give credit to Spider-Man.
There you go.
That would be the thing. Yeah. Like, I just...
Relatability.
If I had powers, even if I had Superman powers, I feel like I would be like Peter Parker.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. Like, Peter Parker's the same kid. He just...
That's why, like, good. Ultimate Spider-Man really resonated with me, because I was in high school when that came out, and he was a high school student. Yeah. So, like, I really, really connected with that.
Yep.
When I started reading Spider-Man as a kid, he was already married.
Which I loved. I
loved.
Was great, but I agree with you on the Ultimate stuff. Like, even and I reread that run so much now, but I still, like, I look back at it and I go, yeah, and especially in the Ultimate run, because it was updated, so obviously it's a little bit more adult, even though we're dealing with kids again. But, like, I still look at that and I go, like, because, like, Amazing Fantasy 15, Stan Lee has said, like, he's gone on record saying, like, that was a one-shot. He was the whole purpose was to see him become a supervillain.
This was him going, you know what, screw you guys, because they didn't want that story. I'm doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's the last issue. No one's going to read it.
Exactly. So, this is actually a villain origin story. That was the intention. But people were like, no. We want more of the Spider-Man. So they were like, okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we'll make him a hero. So now, with that in mind, I recently reread the Ultimate arc, and I feel like that was Bendis's super massive origin story for a supervillain in the same spirit as Amazing Fantasy 15, because there's that scene where Peter finds out, like in the Clone Saga, that the Spider Slayers were made by Fury, and Fury goes, like, he says, like, you made them for people like me, and he goes, no, I made them to take you down, because of everything that life has done to you up until this point. I thought, this is it, this is the making of the greatest supervillain of all time, but you surprised me. You didn't do that. You didn't kill Otto. You actually did the right thing. I was wrong. And I was like, I feel like now I look at it and go, that's probably what it was. Like, they were building it up. Yeah. Reread it again, and I feel like you'll go, actually, yeah. Especially the Clone Saga. Yeah. When you find out that Otto is cloning him, and he's just like, look, all I was doing was just cloning because this is my job, and this is my career, and this is all I ever wanted to do was these things with science, and it just so happened to pervert every single aspect of your life. Well, then I guess that's kind of what happens. So, no big deal. Yeah. But anyway, so, that would be it. Yeah. So, like, the relatability.
Stan Lee was a genius for thinking of this. Ditko was a genius for helping him bring it to life.
Exactly.
And,
But even just the writers and artists after that.
Marvel would have never been as big without Spider-Man.
100% no.
Because they had Fantastic Four, you know,
but
like
couldn't you really relate to Fantastic Four?
No, you couldn't.
Can you relate to Captain America?
No. The only other one you can relate to is X-Men.
Yeah.
And on a smaller scale, Daredevil.
Exactly. Captain America is the same thing with Superman. You can relate to them on a philosophical level, but not on an intrinsic level. Like, you can't literally go, most people, like, you wouldn't go, Cap, I would be Captain America. Yeah. Maybe not. Because they do, like, in the movies, they don't depict Captain America as being perfect, but in the comic books, they do. They really do make it seem like he's perfect, and he doesn't do a lot of mistakes, although there's a philosophy book about Captain America that I really enjoyed by Mark D. White, actually. Red, White, and Blue, the philosophy of Captain America. Okay. And it actually talks about how his old school values is actually way more important now than ever before. Really good book. Really, really good book. If you get a chance to actually read words, check it out. Check it out, but it was really good. But anyway, but they do really make it seem like Cap is perfect and Iron Man is perfect. No, maybe not so much Iron Man, but they do. Like Batman. Batman is one where they make it seem like he's super perfect. More so than Superman. It's like, okay, guys, tone it down. Remember, he's a human being, right? Yeah. Whereas, even though Spider-Man with his powers, he feels more human than a lot of these characters. Exactly. Same with Daredevil. Exactly. Daredevil's another one, like I referenced earlier, where, like, he's one of those ones where, like, he has to get shit on. Yeah. He has to get shit on. He has to get knocked down so that when he gets back up, then it's like, oh, right. And same with Spider-Man. Whereas, like, with Cap, you're like, well, of course you're getting up. You're Captain America. With Batman, you're like, oh, of course you're getting up. You're Captain America. They actually had to kill Superman before you got that feeling. Exactly. He got back up. Yeah. You know? Exactly. Whereas with Spider-Man, even though he's Spider-Man, he could still get killed. Yep. He could still not get back up. Yep. When he does, you're like, yes. Yes. So, like, and I've said a million times, and I'll say it a million times again, comic books are very much an allegory for life, where instead of supervillains, we're fighting, bills and other things, like other life things that throw at us. Yeah. And it's how we handle those things that dictate how our life's going to go. And that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That's beautiful. So, yep.
That was a great Insta question. Thank you, Be Like Superman. Much appreciated.
You're welcome.
All right.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And, well, once again, we're at that time where we run out of things to say about things we love. So now we'll say thank you. Thank you again for stopping by. Thank you again for liking us. Thank you again for sharing us. If you do that, and if you don't, please do, because that's great.
Hit that little bell so you get notified when our new videos
and actually,
are up.
Do it so that it'll constantly notify you. Not casually notify you. Always notify you. Every single fucking time.
Always get notified. And keep in mind that we want your opinion on our 50th episode. We want you to pick what we're going to talk about.
Or just tell us what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. Anything. Anything at all.
That too.
Anything at all.
We're honestly right, though.
Even if we make errors. Because I've made errors and I've watched videos and I went, oh, yeah, I fucked that one up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Point out errors.
You can make a list of how I butchered up all the names today.
That's right. That's right.
I am the name butcherer.
But, if you don't just want to see us on YouTube, which you can also
We're here.
see us on Facebook.
Yep.
You can also hear us on SoundCloud.
Hello.
You can also hear us on iTunes.
Hello again.
Can you see us on iTunes, or is it just audio?
It's all the audio.
Okay.
No beautiful faces for you.
But you can also see us on Twitter
Mhm.
and Instagram.
There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Spider-Man Far From Home Geek Pants Camcast. And, well, Ken,
Chris,
that's it.
that's it. It was great talking to you
It was amazing.
today in front of these people.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
Possibly also spectacular.
Almost a web
Yes, almost a web of
ultimate
pants.
ultimate geek pants.
Yes, of Ultimate Geek Pants.
Ultimate
a web
Geek
of
Pants.
Ultimate Geek
A web
Pants.
of
There
ultimate
we go.
geek pants.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
These pancakes are delicious.